Hi, welcome to the Gemara on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. We are starting 11 lines up from the bottom of the page at the two dots. I gave you the previous phrase that we ended with, and this is where the Gemara begins. I'm going to go through the Gemara with a few questions for you for homework, and there's also a link on the website to the questions themselves. So my first question to you, before you even see anything in the Gemara, is for you to vote first on a question that the Gemara is going to discuss. So here's the question. Which would you say is more important? Avodat Hashem, we'll translate that as serving God, let's say, in the Beit HaMikdash, or Talmud Torah, learning Torah. If you had to vote, without having seen the Gemara we're about to see, which way would you vote? Which one do you think is more important? So take a minute and record your vote. That's question number one. Now I'm going to go on in the Gemara. V'hashta de'amart, medina u'medina ve'ir va'ir, lidrasha, mishpacha u'mishpacha, l'mayata. Here's the question. Now that we've said medina u'medina ve'ir va'ir, lidrasha, that phrase from a verse comes to teach us a drasha. The words in the same verse, mishpacha u'mishpacha, L'mayata, for what do they come? What do they teach us? What are they bringing us? And your second question to answer for your homework is, what is the Gemara's train of thought here? Why are we talking about this now? You know the section that we just finished, so how did we get to talk about this now? This is the question, and I'm going to put the question words in red so that you'll remember that it's a question. Here's the answer, the beginning of the answer. Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina. Put that in green since the beginning of the answer. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina says, Lahavi mishpachot kahuna u'leviyah, shemivatlin avodotanu ba'in lishma mikra megillah. It comes to include, the phrase mishpacha comes to include the families of the Kohanim and Leviim, who would leave aside, who were expected to leave aside their avodah, their service in the Beit HaMikdash, and come to hear the reading of Megillah. De Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, because Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, here's a proof for that answer. Kohanim ba'avodatan, v'levi'im b'tuchnan, v'Yisrael b'ma'amadan, kulam nevatlin avodatan, uva'in lishmoa mikra Megillah. Kohanim in their service, in their temple service, Levi'im B'tuchnan in the middle of their temple service, which was singing songs, and Yisrael b'ma'amadan, the non-Kohen, non-Levi Israelites who were expected to come to the Beit HaMikdash and sort of serve alongside, sort of support the Kohanim, but they were groups who would come along with the Kohanim, so they're also in or near the Beit HaMikdash. So all of them would leave aside their avodah, their temple service, and come to hear Mikra Megillah. So that's a support for this answer. Tanya Nami Hachi, we also learn in a Braita, so here's another support for the answer. Kohanim ba'avodatan, v'levim b'tuchnan, v'Yisrael b'ma'amadan, kulan mevatlin avodatan, u'ba'in lishma Mikra Megillah. So far the same as Rav Yehuda's statement in the name of Rav. The Kohanim in the midst of their service in the temple, and Levi'im in the midst of their singing in the temple, and the Israelites in the midst of their temple service, which were these ma'amadot, this sort of being near the temple. All of them would leave aside their avodah, their Beit HaMikdash service, and come to hear Mikra Megillah. Mikan samcho shel Beit Rebbe, shemevatlin Talmud Torah uva'in lishma Mikra Megillah. So this was the reason, or the source, the support for the house of Rebbe, who would leave aside their Talmud Torah, they would leave aside their learning, and come to hear the Megillah being read. Kal v'chomer ma'avodah. They figured out a kal v'chomer argument from service, from temple service. Uma'avodah shehi chamora, just as avodah, which is very serious, taken very seriously, mivatlinan, you leave it aside, you can let it go, meaning in order to hear Megillah, Talmud Torah lo kol sheken. Talmud Torah, how much more so? So my next question to you is, what what relationship does this set up? Which is taken more seriously, and which is taken less seriously, avodah or Talmud Torah? And the final question for this section, for this homework, is to make a structure chart that reflects the part of the Gemara that I just read. This will be preparation for Chavruta tomorrow. I'm not going to ask you any questions in the rest of this video. You can stop here for tonight, or you can keep watching if you want a preview of your Chavruta time tomorrow. Va'avodah chamura mitalmud Torah. Is it really true that avodah, that Beit HaMikdash service, is taken more seriously, is more stringent than Talmud Torah? Question mark, exclamation point. This is a challenge. V'haktiv, but doesn't it say? This is proof for the challenge. Vayhi b'yot Yehoshua b'Yericho v'yisai einav vayar v'hine ish omed lenegdo vayishtachu apav arza. So, doesn't it say in Yehoshua? I'll put the quotes in here, and I'll highlight it since it's a verse from Tanakh. Doesn't it say in Yehoshua that Yehoshua was in Yericho and he looked up and he saw a man standing across from him and he bowed down? And this is you can look this up, you should look this up in Sefer Yehoshua, but this is Yehoshua's encounter with an angel or angelic figure, sort of parallel to other Nevi'im who have encounters like this. He's going to come and tell him what his mission is. So this is what happens. He meets the man or the angel, and he bows down. And now the Gemara stops and asks sort of a parenthetical question. V'heichi avid hachi. How could he do such a thing? How could Yehoshua do such a thing? He met the guy, and he bowed down to him. How does that work? V'ha'amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. But don't we have a statement from Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi? Asur la'adam sheyiten shalom l'chaveiro b'layla. Chayshinan shema shedhu. Life advice from Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi: it is forbidden for a person to say hello, to offer a greeting to someone else at night, meaning you can't see the person and you offer a greeting nonetheless. We are concerned lest that seeming person is actually a demon. A shed is a demon. Okay, so here's the question. And this is proof for the question. And here's the beginning of the answer. Shani hatam. It's different there, meaning the case of Yehoshua is different. To Amrle ki ani sar tzva Hashem. Because he actually said to him, the angelic figure actually said to him, I am the head of the army of God. He actually said, I'm an angel. V'dilma meshakre. And maybe, perhaps, he was lying. Why did Yehoshua ben Nun assume that just because the guy he met at night said he was an angel, that he was really an angel? Gemire delo mafke shem shemayim levatala. We've learned, we have a tradition that shedim, demons do not take the name of heaven in vain. So even a shed, even a demon wouldn't lie about being an angel. If he said he was an angel, he was really an angel. This again is a challenge. I'll put it in red. And this is the beginning of the response. Again, that was all parenthetical. Now the Gemara goes back to its main point. Amar lo emesh bitaltem tamid shel bein harabayim, ve'achshav bitaltem Talmud Torah. So the angel said to him, Amar lo, the angel said to Yehoshua, in the evening you left aside, you didn't attend to the evening tamid offering, and now you have left aside Talmud Torah. You're neglecting all these mitzvot. Amar lo al izeh mehen bata. Yehoshua says back to him, which one have you come about? Why have you come to speak to me? Is it because I didn't do the tamid, or is it because we didn't learn Torah? Amar lo, the angel says back to him, atabati. Now I have come. I'm going to put in quotes. Miyad v'ilan Yehoshua b'laylahu b'toch ha'emek. And immediately, the next pasuk says, Yehoshua slept that night in the valley. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Melamed shalan be'omka shel halacha. This teaches us, this phrase that he slept that night in the emek, in the valley, teaches us that he slept within the depths of Torah, within the valleys of Torah, literally. So it seems clear then that the angel came because he hadn't learned Torah and not because he hadn't offered the Tamid offering. And so his response was immediately to learn Torah. So we learn from this that the worst sin in this case was actually not learning Torah rather than not doing the avodah properly. The Amar of Shmuel bar Oniah, Gadol Talmud Torah yoter mehakravat tzmidin. In fact, another statement that supports this challenge is that of Rosh Shmuel bar Oniah, who says Talmud Torah is greater than offering korbanot, offering the Tamid korban specifically. Shene'amar atabati, because it says in this verse in Yeshua, atabati, I have come now. Right? Again, the implication of the story in Yeshua, according to this interpretation, is that Torah is actually greater than temple service, which contradicts the idea we saw before. Lo kasha. Here's the resolution. You needed a good resolution color. I think we'll make it this color. Lo kasha. Had rabim v'hadi yachid. This one is of the many, and this one is of an individual. In other words, there's a distinction between Torah learning on a wide scale, Torah learning by the many, versus Torah learning by one individual. V'yachid kal, but is an individual's Torah learning really so light, so sort of easy to push aside? V'hatznan, but don't we learn in a Mishnah? Nashim b'moed ma'anot, avalo metapchot. Women on Moed, on Chol HaMoed, can sort of mourn for the dead, but they can't mitzapchot, they can't beat themselves or sort of hit themselves. It was a form of mourning. Rabbi Yishmael Omer, Rabbi Yishmael says, Im hayu smuchot lamitzah mitzapchot, period. But Rabbi Yishmael says, no, well, if they're really right next to the coffin, if they're right next to where the dead body is, then they can, in fact, even hit themselves. B'roshei chodeshim b'Chanukah v'Purim ma'anotu mitzapchot bazeh bazeh avalo mekononot. On Rosh Chodesh and Chanukah and Purim, ma'anotu mitzapchot, they can do this kind of mourning and they can hit themselves, but they can't mekononot, they can't have like sort of the full-fledged wailing that women would lead, the full-fledged mourning that one woman would lead and the other women would answer, sort of a responsive service. They can't do that. Okay, that's the Mishnah. The Amar Rabba bar Huna, and Rabba bar Huna says about this Mishnah, Ein moed bifnei talmid chacham, kol sheken Chanukah uPurim. There's no moed in the face of a talmid chacham. In other words, if a talmid chacham dies, you wouldn't have to hold back from these forms of mourning, even on Chol HaMoed, and all the more so on Chanukah and Purim. Actually, that should be a period. Right? So this seems to show that Talmud Torah is actually more important, even that of an individual, because even for a single Talmid Chacham, you're allowed to do all the forms of mourning, even on Moed and all the more so on Chanukah and Purim. Kvod Torah ka'amart. No, you're just talking about Kvod Torah, this whole Mishnah, which was meant to contradict the idea or problematize the idea of an individual's Torah learning being not such a big deal. You quoted this Mishnah, but it's really not about Torah learning. It's about Kvod Torah. It's about giving respect to the Torah. Kvod Torah diachid chamor. Okay, the Kavod Torah for even an individual is taken very seriously. Talmud Torah diachid kal. But the Torah learning of a single individual is not taken as seriously, and therefore presumably could be outweighed by certain things. And we'll see the continuation of this theme when we go on to the Gemara, but we'll stop there.